So one of the things I've been hearing about lately is disc rot, basically when it comes to DVDs and all that, and even Blu-rays. But when I hear all this, I kind of look at the fact that a lot of this disc rot reporting mainly pertains to the earlier release, of Blu-ray and DVD movies of when the formats first became, new. Like with DVD, it was around the late 90s to early mid 2000s. And with Blu-ray, it was about the late to mid 2000s to about the mid to late 2010s. So I look at the fact that it's mainly more pertained to the, I guess you could say, earlier, releases of Blu-rays and DVDs with movies and shows and all that. That's how I look at it. And because of that, I look at numerous factors that go along with it. One, it is the age of the disc, and the discs not being as durable as what they are today, or what they would be throughout, the years and decades. It's that. Two, it's the various lasers that it would be, put through, the paces it would be put through various lasers and all that when you put it into different players. And three, it's also the players themselves. It all depends on what players, or how many players you put it through, I should say. So, for example, if you don't play it too much in different players and everything, then the disc should be all right, because when you add in what I mentioned before, the laser reading and everything burning onto the disc, you'll have less damage. So the less you play it in, not just your default player, Blu-ray player, DVD player, 4K player and all that, the less you play it there, and everything, as well as play it in other players as well, the better chance it has, I think, of surviving. But even outside of that, I think the rot does have to deal with more along the lines of age. Because sometimes, again, it sounds like, the discs that people are talking about that, really suffer from this is more along the lines of the early ones, like the late, the late 90s to early mid 2000 DVDs, are the ones that suffer the most. And again, some Blu-rays are dealing with that as well, apparently, but those are mainly from when Blu-ray first began, like the mid 2000s to basically the mid to late 2010s, but mainly the mid 2000s. And I think it's all based on the fact that, the discs weren't as durable and as strong as they were, then as they are now. To where now you can put more on a disc than before. You can, even with a DVD over time, you can strengthen, you basically would create it and build it to be very durable to the point that it could have not just a 1080p movie or 1080p version of the movie, on it, but it could have the special features in 1080p as well. And even though it would put a strain on it, maybe, it still was playable and watchable, there's no doubt. So basically over time, the physical discs themselves got stronger, or were developed stronger and more durable. But I think back when they first began, they weren't that way. They were more flimsy. They were more, I guess you could say, more acceptable to damage and all that. And I think because of that, you have this disc rot being reported as of late over the past, I think year or so, because of, the age, because of, the age of the disc and its durability, wearing thin, especially when you've used that same disc to, watch, time and time again in various DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Blu-ray players. The laser reader going encrypt, being, put on it is going to wear the disc thin. It's going to wear it thin to the point that eventually it's going to be unreadable. And I think that's kind of what happened. It's a variety of factors, in my opinion. It's the age of the disc, the durability and everything of it, how it was built. And also it's the fact that, how many different players did it go through. Not just DVD, but Blu-ray and 4K, and even the game consoles like PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS5, PS4, you name it. How many discs did it go through not disc, but console, video game console Blu-ray players that it go through along with the regular ones as well. Because these are all different laser tips or laser readers that, it's going to be, put on, and those are going to read the disc. So how many of it, has it gone through and all that? And again, it is the laser itself. If it's not the DVD players and how many it goes through, it's the laser itself. Because sometimes if you have a default player, whether it's DVD, 4K, or Blu-ray, or even a game one with a DVD or Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray installed, again, the situation is more along the lines of, the laser itself. The laser itself. Because even if you didn't play, I should say, the disc as much, in the DVD player before mostly playing it in your Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray players or game console players, the laser is going to wear off on it, or the laser is going to wear on it time and time again. So basically, to me, it's three factors. Its age, due to the durability and how it was originally built, going back to pertaining to the early ones of the late 90s to early mid 2000s. When it comes to DVDs, and mid 2000 when it comes to Blu-ray, it maintains to that. It maintains to how many different, players you put it through. Whether it's regular players like this or game players like that, that. It all depends on that. And three, on top of it, you have the laser readers, in there that, read the information off the disc that also, when they're doing so, kind of burn the disc a little bit. And the more, the more you put it into that player or different players on multiple occasions or whatever, it's going to catch up to the disc and the story. So my opinion, I look at it as those being the three main factors, if you will. Basically, the age, basically how old the disc is from when it first, was, bought by the person. Like when DVD and all that came out, Blu-ray came out, depends on that. It depends on the variety, the various numbers of Blu-ray players and DVD players and 4K players the disc has gone through or been put into, even the game console ones. And third, it's the lasers. It's the lasers, if you will, that play a factor. I know this all sounds kind of complex and confusing even for me saying it, but I'm just going off of what I think could be the reasons. These are just my opinions. That's all. I'm not an expert or anything, but I'm just taking from what I've heard and understood about how discs are read on Blu-ray players and DVD players and game players and all that. I'm just taking what I've learned and I've heard and applying it basically to my theory, my thoughts, my opinion as to why the disc rot happens. But it's not just with them either. You also have DVD recordable discs as well, and you got to realize that the recordable laser on the DVD recorder also plays a factor, and then afterwards when you put it onto regular players, over time it will cause an issue too. I should know this because some of my discs that I've recorded throughout the years are not being read by my 4K player or even my regular DVD player. So, yeah, those are just my thoughts, my opinions. Again, I'm no expert. I'm just going off of what I've heard and even learned a little bit, studied a little bit. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Do you agree with what I've had to say? And until next time, I'll talk to you later. I do apologize if I was all over the place. I am tired. It is late. But let me know what your thoughts are.